Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So, what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juicy little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright, yes. Now then, my delicious little babies. So, what's the time, Mr. Wall? So, it's 11:30 in the morning. That doesn't mean no, just got an itch, my delicious little babies. Maybe a surprise. So it's 11:30 a.m. My dog and Bone has decided just to switch herself on, So I was just getting ready to, sorry, excuse me, to start my video, and she, sorry, excuse me, decided to, just start recording my delicious babies. Okay, now then, so I've got a number of videos today, my delicious babies, and I hope that wherever you are in the world, just going over the dots, that life is treating you most deliciously. Okay, now then, so what is it that I want to say? I've got plenty to say, actually. Okay, my delicious little babies, so let's go back here. Okay, my delicious little babies. Right, okay, first one, my delicious little babies now, okay? So we've got, these are all on YouTube, okay, my delicious little babies. This was uploaded, well, it's not 11 hours ago now, it's probably about 12 and a half hours ago, my delicious little babies. This uploader happens to have 22.5 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. And the uploader's called capital B in the older space bar in YouTube, my delicious little babies, black space capital E educational space capital N network. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? Black space educational space network. Now the video should read FEMA, the secret document to detain Black America Steve Coakley. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? FEMA, the secret document to detain Black America Steve Coakley. Okay, my delicious little babies. So, yes, so this dear man now, bless him, he where he goes back to is 1991, my delicious little babies. Okay, now when he's talking about somebody who's white, white, he's talking about certain my delicious little babies, okay? But he's reading out documents, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So well worth a listen. It's about, I think it's about 20 minutes long, my delicious little babies. I've listened to it this morning. So yes, well worth came up on my feed. So this is not myself seeking. It found me, my delicious little babies, this video. Well worth a listen to the video, my delicious little babies. Okay, please and thank you. With any of these videos, and if you could please, with the videos that I advertise, should you wish to look at any of the videos, could you please, if you find them interesting, if you find them educational, could you please pass them on? Okay, my delicious little babies, please and thank you. That's all I ask. I do not ask anything else, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Okay. But I'll be really so very thankful and so very grateful. But it's a case with all the different videos that I give out, my delicious little babies. It's a case of taking out ham in pieces, bits and pieces. It's just a song, my delicious little babies. Anybody who listens to my videos so very kindly, oh, bless your beautiful dear little souls. You know that from time to time I do sing my delicious little babies, okay? So once you take out bits and pieces, there we are. It's easier, there we are, to work out. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, the next one, that doesn't mean no, just pulling me lights in, because we've got to keep the lights shining, haven't we, my delicious little babies? Now then, next one, This video was uploaded 1 year ago, my delicious little babies. Now, this uploader happens to have 1.02 million subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? Now then, and when I was looking for other videos, I came across this one. So this one here, my delicious little babies, you know, did not come up on my feed. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, so this uploader is called, all in capitals, my delicious little babies, one word, frame. Okay, my delicious little babies, you know, so like a picture frame, or, you know, like what we've heard over the decades, you know, when somebody or one is, there we are, framed. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? And the video should read, that's the uploader frame. Okay, my delicious little babies. The video should read, inside Samsung's futuristic factory where robots build millions of smartphones, you know, dog and burns, like what I've got, my delicious little babies, okay? So I'll just repeat that again for you, shall I? Inside Samsung's futuristic factory where robots build millions of smartphones. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now, this is, I do believe, just over 30 minutes long. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now, I've talked about Samsung before, my delicious little babies. I've got a Samsung myself. Okay, my delicious little babies. But I was also talking about, that doesn't mean no, I was also talking about months and months and months ago where in France, there's a place, is it in Paris? It's in Paris. And there seemed to be a number of complaints where ones were taking their television, programming, and it all happened to be the same make, because what it was, they were asking one to sign the signature, what make of the television it was. And this seemed to be, see, stumbled there, didn't I, my delicious little babies? Seemed to be a problem with a particular make of Samsung television. Okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, so I have talked about this before. I've talked about dog and burns. I've talked about how they're taken apart. You know, where is it now? I said it months ago in my videos, Pakistan and everything, my delicious little babies, okay? So there we are. I've talked about this long time, okay, my delicious little babies. But as I've said before, and I repeat again, my videos just do not get out. This is not about me having subscribers. This is not about myself wanting to, oh, look at me, look at me. No, it's not. It's about there we are, the information that I'm giving out, my delicious little babies. I'm not shouting at you. I'll never do that. Okay, my delicious little babies. But of course, YouTube choose to do this to, and that doesn't mean just got another itch. Maybe they need to look at their noddles, okay, for what they're doing. Because ones, there we are, need to be working together. Do you see what I mean? And they're not exempt. Okay, my delicious little babies. The fact of the matter is this, is that if ones can all work together, then there we are, then we can get the job done. Not in a violent way, not in any way, okay? But everybody's ideas should come together. There we are, and click together. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? But YouTube doesn't want that. Okay, my delicious little babies, and I'm not alone. There are a lot of other little YouTubers, okay? Well, to all the little YouTubers out there, my delicious little babies, I'm hoping that my voice, you know, maybe the angels will send you a message, okay? So for any little YouTubers who are feeling downhearted, please do not feel downhearted. Please know that when you say something that happens to be, there we are, very relevant, okay, YouTube, you know, and the staff and everything, okay, they're not liking, okay, they're little robots because they're programmed to do all these putrid things to us out here, okay, my delicious little babies. So please do not feel, you know, downhearted, our delicious little babies or the little YouTubers, you know what I mean? Because some may only probably have, well, anyway, only, doesn't matter. If you have one subscriber, if you've got one who's listening, there we are. It can carry a long way, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, we shall not give up, okay? You You know, there's times when, you know, you flipping, there we are, you damn well feel like it, but you just got to keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those wheels rolling. You know, remember, roll hard. Okay, my delicious little babies. So that's the second video. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay. Now, the point to all this, we've been saying a long time, they've been doing it with cars, they've been doing it Land Rover and all these places. They've been doing this for years and years. My delicious little babies have had robots doing parts of the work. And then you've got mankind doing the other part of the work. My delicious little babies, if you follow me. Anyway, so the next video, my delicious little babies, this was uploaded 4 months ago. So this upload happens to have 13.6 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies can. And it is called capital R in the older space bar in YouTube, my delicious little babies, industrial space making. Okay, my delicious little babies, that's the uploader. So I'll just repeat that again. Industrial space making. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, something else, because, you know, I underline the where it says indust, then trial. Okay, my delicious little babies, you know when you break the word up? A, B, C, easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay, my delicious little babies, so you got in. So we could call that, there we are, in-house. As an example, my delicious little babies, dust. Well, we get a lot of dust in our homes, don't we, my delicious little babies? You know my beautiful dear little nanny bit. Oh, I love my nanny and granddad, so I've already said good morning. She used to have, there we are, the most spotless home. Honestly, there we are, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? A delicious pleasure, there we are, to walk in. You know what I mean? Always clean bedding, everything clean, everything spotless. Pots and pans, you know, she never used to call it plates and things. She used to say, oh, you know, wash the pots, you know, clean the pots, put the pots away. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, Broad Yorkshire, from all. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies, a lot went on in all, still does. There we are, my delicious little babies, Cornwall as well, it seems. Well, there's a bit going on. Where is it? Shetlands as well, isn't there? There we are. My delicious little babies, just sort of mention it. Well, if you look at it, there's a lot of dust, isn't there? You know, and sometimes, you know, there's dust, you know, not only in factories and everything, but there's a lot of dust, say, in other countries like Pakistan and different places like that now then. Or maybe Indonesia, or maybe Malaysia, or maybe, there we are, or maybe something like this now then. And then you got trial. So in, dust, trial. So we could say something is a trial. Okay, let's give some examples. Say if somebody goes for a job interview, they could give them a 3-month trial or trial to see how they get on. So if they do not do very well, there we are, then they're booted out the door. That's usually how it goes, isn't it, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? We could also say that, you know, somebody could be standing trial for something, my delicious little babies. There's been thousands of cases, hasn't there, my delicious little babies, where, you know, one has stood trial and they haven't quite done everything that, let's just say, somebody else somewhere has said that they've done, my delicious little babies, okay, as an example, or somebody's standing trial because they've done something. Of course, we could say it's a trial to do with what I'm just going to mention, my delicious little babies. So the video should read, the making of beauty soap, step-by-step guide, 'cause I'm taking it step by step, brick by brick. Our beautiful Whitney Houston, wasn't it, my delicious little babies? Not in that way, not in that way. Oh, how we love you. Our lovely little Whitney Houston. She had a beautiful banging voice, you know. It was such a shame she was taken too soon. Okay, my delicious little babies, and I'll just repeat that again for you, shall I? The making a beauty soap, step-by-step guide. Plenty of guards, isn't there, my delicious little babies? You know, even when you call these places now, like to pay your old dog and bill, you know, dog and fern bill, my delicious little babies. Yeah, stumbled there. You know, it says on, what is it? It's all recorded. You know, well, basically, you know, you've got to be kind to the guards. You know, if we go back decades ago, you used to have the brownies and you used to have the guards. So they were just older, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So what this is all about, my delicious babies, I think it's about 20 minutes long, okay? This is about soap. Okay, my delicious little babies, if you can see how it's made, there we are. And then it lands in our old England, you know, and I should imagine in all different countries, my delicious little babies. It's called Lux. Now, I remember Lux from, there we are, from when I was little, my delicious little babies. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even think that Lux still survived, but it does, my delicious little babies. I seen it, where was it, the other week? In the chemist, my delicious little babies, when I was getting my deodorant. Okay, my delicious little babies, and yeah, my toothpaste. Okay, my delicious little babies, so yeah, it shows you, yeah. It's not like this massive factory. It's like one's doing something here, there we are, another one's doing something there. My delicious, there we are, little babies, do you know what I mean? Plenty of sacks and colours. Okay, my delicious little babies, you know, meaning pink, white, you know, and all that now then. Okay, my delicious little babies, to the next one. Doesn't mean no. Gosh, I've got so many itches today. I've had my shower. Don't you worry about that. I love my juicy little shower, my delicious little babies. Okay, next one. This uploader happens to 91.1 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. Okay, like I said, all of them are on YouTube. This was uploaded, well, it's going to be about 6.5 hours ago now, my delicious little babies. Okay, I'm sure. And in the older search engine, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, capital T, Tom, space, capital N, numbers, space, capital P, SARC, and then space, capital C, club. SARC is spelt P-S-Y-C-H. So it should read Tom space, numbers space, SARC space, club. Okay, my delicious baby, my nose is itching terrible. Sorry about that, my delicious babies. And the video should read, I think this is about 20 odd minutes long. Black Swan tomorrow, October 19th. But when he'd done it, it was already today. But for Born in the USA, they're like behind in hours. So it's not quite the, or it wasn't when he did the video, quite the 19th of October, my delicious little babies can. And that's how he explains it. Tommy's absolutely banging. I'm really pleased that his numbers has gone up. I mean, he's what I would call, he's one of the masters. Okay, my delicious little babies, there we are at numbers. Okay, my delicious little babies. I advertised him how long ago? All my life. I think about 3-4 years ago, something like that. Okay, so I'm really pleased his numbers have rose. Okay, my delicious little babies. Good on you, Tom. Not in that way with anybody, okay? But good on you, Tom, okay? He breaks everything down, my delicious little babies, and he explains different meanings for different numbers and everything, my delicious little babies, okay? So there we are, very interesting to listen to, okay? And he has lots of other videos, there we are, for you to take a listen to. You know, it's all very educational, there we are, is the word, my delicious little babies. In fact, anything I'm advertising is educational, okay? So yeah, so the next one, my delicious little babies, this was uploaded 1 day ago. This uploader happens to have 63.9 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, and it is called, in the old space bar, my delicious little babies, capital T, truth, space, capital T, 2, and then space capital P power. So it should read, once tapped in, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, truth, space 2, space power. And the video should read, all sorted. If Farage wins, I'm leaving Britain. Okay, my delicious little babies, come up on my feed as well, my delicious little babies, can I'll just repeat that again for you. All sorted. If Farage wins, I'm leaving Britain. Okay, my delicious little babies. Well, after I'd seen the video, I wrote the video down. It's not an upload that I will be listening to again. So I'll just put do not recommend. Okay, my delicious little babies. So he was talking about that, about Britain. He said that he'll go to another country like France, Well, France, there we are already having a lot of problems, my delicious little babies, just the same as there we are. Other countries are having problems, but anyway, this one here seems to feel that he knows right, my delicious little babies, why have I mentioned it? Don't get me wrong, everybody uploads and, whatever they want to do, my delicious little babies, but quite frankly, I just feel that one video was enough, actually. There we are. It's rather nauseating. So that's not being nasty, my delicious little babies. Somebody could criticise my videos. Fine. You know what I mean? But for myself, there we are. I'm talking sense. I'm still in my own, there we are. I'm still in my own country. Like I said, unless you're going to move because of business to do with another country and it's in your best interest to do that, okay? Or if you marry somebody or whatever the case may be, then that's different. But other than that, why should you leave your own country? There's so many videos, there we are, on this subject, my delicious babies, and it really does, there we are, after a while, get very nauseating. Now, even though I keep putting do not recommend, 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 somewhere they filter through and you still got this shart. It doesn't matter. In reality, my delicious little babies, there we are, where anybody goes, because eventually, apart from the few countries who know nothing about what's going on, it's going to come to a place near them. Okay, my delicious little babies. So he could then be saying to himself, oh, pack everything up, ship everything wherever they're going to ship it, just to find, until all of this is over, there we are, that there's a shart everywhere you go. And that's not being nasty, my delicious little babies, Kai. How many, try to escape? You can get some where they go in their own little countrysides and things like this now then, okay? And maybe they can live off grid or something like this now then, but he is just, there we are, an example of a long line, all saying the same thing. Okay, my delicious little babies, and like I said, quite frankly, there we are, it is the most nauseating. Okay, my delicious little babies, that's just my feelings on it. I come from England, there we are. I'm proud to be English, my delicious little babies. For myself, I want to go back on my surname, when I go back on everything in my life, my delicious little babies, what you learn over the years. My family, there we are, were migrants. You know what I mean? There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, but this is where I was born and bred. There we are. This is a place that I love. No, I do not like the way it's gone, like with the reducing of litter bins, for an example, the mess in the streets, my delicious little babies. We never used to have all this. It was nothing decades ago like how it is now. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? We never used to have half of these problems, my delicious little babies, but am I going to abandon my country that I was born and bred in? Just because something right now is not quite going the same way. Because like I said, you could go somewhere else, they've got problems there. If you look at graffiti in this country, you got graffiti, there we are, in all different countries. You could go to a seaside there, just like in England, could go anywhere, and you're going to find, rubbish washing up and everything like this now, where one's just simple things couldn't give a shot. But the fact of the matter is, my delicious little babies, Kai, this is a sign of the times at the moment, but what I'm saying is we also have to blame things like this now then. Like if you go back decades ago, we used to have what was called, this is just going into my nod, the pot man. And the pot man used to come round and it all used to be glass bottles. The milkman used to come round and it used to be glass bottles. You know, message in a bottle, yeah. So, you know, things used to be wrapped. If you look at fish and chips, going back decades ago, especially if you go to seaside and things like this, I'm sure in some places, bless, you may still get it. It was in newspaper, you know, because after all, it's yesterday's news, isn't it? My delicious little babies kind. The only reason why they survive is because there we are, ones read it, just like the television. The only reason why they survive with the propaganda is because ones listen to it for some. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. So no, unless there was something there we are more serious for myself, I wouldn't move anywhere. My delicious little babies, I'm all right where I am at the moment. So, you know, nothing against the uploader. If he chooses to, you know, talk about what he wants to talk about, that's fine. So I'm not having a dig. I'm just saying there's too many. There we are of these. But I may just find my delicious little babies, unless they're super duper with their old noddle. Okay, there we are. They'll find themselves, you know, going from the frying pan, just figure of speech, my delicious little babies, into the fire. Do you see what I mean? Into the fire. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Next one. So this uploader happens to have 50.3 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. This was 1 month ago. And the uploader's called, oh, I forgot to write it down, haven't I? Oh, blummy neck. Okay. It's a case of, I'm very sorry about this, my delicious little babies. It's a case of, this is just over 30 minutes long. It's a case of typing it into the old space bar, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest. If you type it in like this, you'll come up with it. Okay, my delicious little babies, please and thank you. Sorry, excuse me, occasionally I do this, you know. It's because there's so many today, my delicious babies, and I have other things on my noddle. Incredible. This is the title to it. Space process, space of, space recycling, space millions, space of, space waste, space aluminium, space making, space skills. If you use a type or Latin, my delicious babies, I'm very sorry about that. I know it's long-winded, but I do apologise. But anyway, I think I'll find it somewhere on my saved. I'll just read it out again for you, my delicious babies. Incredible process of recycling millions of waste aluminium making skills. Okay, my delicious babies. Yes. So I've talked about this before, my delicious babies. We've gone through the plastic stage, haven't we, my delicious babies? You know, it goes from Ireland, Pakistan to everywhere. Okay, my delicious babies can. And of course, you know, it'd probably come from England and then, you know, and then work its way around, you know, around the map. Okay, my delicious babies. But this here is aluminium cans, where I want to quickly say something about this. And this is why I talk about many times, my delicious babies, about this can. I'll probably do everybody's boxing, okay? But you know, I'm not going to say sorry. All it is, there we are. It's whatever's on my noddle, and it's how I feel. There we are, and it's what I want to say. Now, say for example, somebody. I'm just going to give an example. Say somebody earns 150 ka-ching, ching, ching each week, and say they love the pop. Okay, my delicious babies. Well, to tell you the truth, when I was little, my dear dad, bless him, my mum, how I love her so, my dear mum, bless her, my dear nanny and granddad, how I loved them also, okay, would not allow me or my sister to drink pop. So we wasn't allowed to have fizzy pop. Okay, my delicious babies can. I never missed it. And I can look you in the camera now, my delicious babies. I really just never missed it because my dad always did from scratch. There we are. home cooked meals. We always had plenty of fruit, plenty of vegetables, plenty of dairy. My dad never liked dairy, to be quite honest with you, Martin, but because he just couldn't stand it. He actually had where he'd feel like projecting. He's never ever had any vaccines or anything. It's just he just couldn't tolerate it. The same with mint. He just cannot tolerate mint either, Martin, by his kind. So it's not to his liking. But when he used to buy us everything, we used to have veg, fruit, spuds, everything. There we are. And it was fresh. Plenty of eggs. There we are. Plenty of, when we were brought up to eat meat. So plenty of meat. And do you understand what I mean? My delicious babies, okay? If he did a curry, he'd go to the shops. There we are. And he'd buy the pack, like what I do. I've got flipping cupboards. There we are, full of spices. Okay, my delicious babies. And he'd make a curry from scratch. There we are. And he'd do things from scratch. Okay? Because he learned his first. He could already cook, from my beautiful dear little nan and granddad. Oh, you know what I mean? He was blessed to do that. But he cooked learned to make, his first curry in Singapore when he was in the army, my delicious little baby's kind. So he never liked things out of a jar, my delicious little babies. It just wasn't him. You know what I mean? Okay? But for the ones who like fizzy pop, that's where you used to get the pop man. My dad, however, would prefer, there we are, to give us fruit, or we'd have orange juice. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? He'd also say, well, if you're thirsty, there's a tap there. There we are, simple things. That's what he used to say. Okay, my delicious little babies, but he used to say, make sure you run the tap properly. You know what I mean? But that's if you're thirsty. Okay? But I was brought up in a household, coffee drinking. So my dad used to like a cup of coffee in the morning. Do you know what I mean? Okay? We never used to have tea bags in home because my dad never drank tea. So it was only coffee. The only time when we ever used to have tea bags is when my beautiful dear little Nana Bear, when she used to come and stay, my dad used to go and get tea bags in. But other than that, no. So he was very strict, there we are, on what we could eat and what he felt, there we are, was nourishing for our bodies to keep us, there we are, healthy. Do you see what I mean? Okay, but we were very active, always out, always playing, climbing trees, doing things on bikes and rollerblades, and you know what I mean, just having fun, playing tennis, doing different things. There we are, my delicious babies, okay? So I will say, we may not have had a lot, till he started back at work, my delicious babies, because he brought us up on his own, okay? Me and my sister. But once he's back working, that was all rocking and rolling, but he always made sure, there we are, that we ate properly. Okay, there we are, delicious little babies, okay? We never went without. And even desserts, which is called pudding or dessert, you know what I mean? There we are, everything by hand, crumbles, everything. You can make anything. You say you don't need to go and buy sweets. You see what I mean? So we were allowed like a little treat. And he used to do things like with treacle, and things like this, my delicious little babies, okay? He used to leave it to go hard, smash it all up, on the tray. He used to say, if you want to have a little nibble, there we are. Okay, but he was not one to allow us to have a lot of sweet things or anything like this now then. When he used to do chips, all homemade, used to be in lard, or, sometimes, we meet and, use a bit of the dripping, whatever else, you know what I mean? Okay? But there we are, how I was brought up, my delicious little babies. They used to go to me beautiful little Nana Bears, fresh bread, fresh cakes, fresh everything. If she was doing a crimbo, the fake crimbo, a crimbo cake, she would have, she'd start 6 months before, with the fruit and everything. And, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? That is, there we are, how I was brought up to be. So that's why I find it so difficult. I'm not going to say about everybody, because not everybody lives that way. No, I'm not. That's why I find it so difficult for ones these Poxy Just Eats. Yeah, they're flipping same colour as my top, flipping orange everywhere. And if it's not orange, it's flipping green. Okay, my delicious little babies. And that's why I find it so hard, there we are, to understand why ones do this. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Because for myself, I just wasn't brought up that way. We just wasn't brought up that way. You see what I mean, okay? So, anyway, I'm not going to keep rambling on. You know, if I bored you, I'm sorry about boring you. But for myself, it's not boring at all because I remember, there we are, how I was brought up properly. Okay, my delicious little babies. Getting back to this now then. So, if somebody earns 150, ka-ching, ka-ching, ching, getting back to the matter in hand. And they, because some do, don't they? Some have a craving with chocolate. Some have a craving with fizzy pop. I've known loads who love fizzy pop. They love especially flipping Diet Kirk. You could go, doesn't matter what shop. You see ones getting cartons, boxes and boxes, of Coca-Cola. There we are. Well, it's all in the name, isn't it, my delicious little babies? It's all in the name. Anyway, Coca-Cola never used to taste like that originally. If you look back to decades and decades ago, there we are. I've seen a few videos on this, my delicious little babies, and it wasn't like that at one time until, let's just say, there was additional ingredients, shall we say, to make ones crave it. You see what I mean? So when one say, oh, there's an addiction somewhere, well, even a pop, that is an addiction. If somebody's got, I'll tell you another one that's an addiction. These monster drinks. And you see crushed up cans everywhere of that. Them monsters, them energy drinks. You know, they're like, you know, that Red Bull. Well, it's all in the name. What's in that, my delicious little babies? I've said this, there we are, long time. Okay, my delicious little babies. But it's big business. And then, of course, you see the process here, my delicious little babies. Again, this is, I think, is it in, I think it's somewhere in Pakistan, my delicious babies. You know, they've got massive, colossal bags and bags, you know, then they go through all the process and then it comes out like long strips. Well, they do not have all of these protective like what you'd have in, you know, where everything's health and safety, my delicious little babies. No. Interesting to read some of the comments, my delicious little babies. Now, finally, my delicious little babies, what's the point that I want to make about that? So say out of somebody's wages, if they, I don't know, maybe they've got to get an item of clothing, pay gas and electric, water. If some pay council tax, I personally do, not my delicious little babies. And pay for food. Maybe bus fares, or if they drive, maybe a car or train fare, whatever, to get to and from work. Probably 20 ching, ching, ching has probably gone out of that to pay for their cans of pop, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? The aluminium. And of course it gets shipped everywhere. So what's my point? It's slave labour. There we are. I get back to the same thing again. Just like these now, bless them. There we are, okay? No protective to help themselves, bless. I do not, you know, like I said with anybody, not in that way, not in that way. But the fact of the matter is, it's all slave labour. Because it all goes back to one. My delicious little babies do so. Now, finally, this one here, and I'm so pleased about this because this uploader, I actually did give it a like. You know, it'll probably be. I'll look at a couple of other videos and see what's cooking, my delicious little babies. This upload happens to have 105,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies. This was uploaded, well, it's not 11 hours ago now, probably about 12 and a half hours ago. And the uploader, sorry, I do not need to stumble, is called capital B, black, space, Renaissance with a capital S, my delicious little babies. So I'm just going to spell that out for you again. Capital B, black, space, capital R, Renaissance with a capital S. The video should read, And this is just over 51 minutes long. Now, I've advertised Shahid, King, Bolsen, myself, Mads, Lishlik Babies. I haven't found him. There we are. They are very interesting with these videos. Like I say, with anybody, not in that way, okay? When somebody is talking, there we are, damn well common sense, there we are, then I, of course, will listen. Well, this uploader, bless, is also advertising Shahid's video, Mads Lishlik Babies, one of his videos. And it should read, epic takedown, Shahid Bolsen delivers a scathing critique of America's crimes against its citizens. Well, I keep saying this, none of us in any country are a citizen. Okay, marginalistic babies, we could say the same about persons, people, individual. We could say the same about all those words, marginalistic babies. I keep trying over the years, there we are, to detach from those words, okay? Because we have been named those words, just like humanity. We have been named these words, marginalistic baby. That's why I prefer mankind. Because really, man is kind, okay? But in life, bless, some have mental health issues and different things. But who has caused, there we are, all of this marginalistic babies? Ones just have to look at it that way. Because when we are born, we were born, there we are, beautiful and natural. Okay, marginalistic babies, it's what others, there we are, very sadly have done. Sorry, excuse me, and it's showing more and more marginalistic babies over these past years, marginalistic babies, more so than any other years. Okay, marginalistic babies. So I'll just repeat this again for you. Epic takedown, Shahid Bolsen delivers a scathing critique of America's crimes against its citizens. Okay, so now I'm going to close my book, marginalistic babies. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Shahid tells it big time. There we are, the way it is, marginalistic babies. He's just done telling you. Yeah. And I've talked about this, to do with, I mean, even sometimes, yes, I will say, sometimes that doesn't mean sometimes for myself, I do shop at a supermarket, so I do it myself, okay, marginalistic babies. But what I'm saying is, if more and more, I repeat this again, I said this months and months ago, if more maybe, and they come round with trucks, I know that some do, but what I'm saying is, if more and more was to say to themselves, okay, we pay a bit more to have better produce and everything like this now, then use smaller shops. I mentioned this months and months and months and months ago. Use smaller shops, okay? Like if you go up to the shopping centre where I live down here up the road, Martin, babies, they have lots of shops, very reasonably priced, a bit more expensive down the road from where I live, but they're very reasonably priced, Martin, babies, okay? If you go into a little shopping centre, all different shops, whether they're Asian, African, Polish, very reasonably priced. I'll just repeat that again, Martin, babies, okay? Then what you can do is we can, that doesn't mean that, then we can stop using the supermarkets as much, Martin, babies. Well, Shahid has been saying this. I've been saying this for months, and there's others who have been saying this for months and months and months and months. Okay, Martin, babies. So, see, because I do not have a car at the moment, Martin, babies. I'm not missing one at this moment in time, Martin, babies. Okay. But I used to drive out, there we are, to farms and different, there we are, places, Martin, babies, you know what I mean, okay? So I'd think nothing, there we are, spending, say, 12 squid ka-ching, on a chicken, on a small chicken, Martin, babies, when I used to eat meat. Okay, Martin, babies, but, and then if I had a car, brum brum wheels, then I'd drive out to, like, fish markets, and things like this now, then, further out. But I just do not drive at the moment, Martin, babies, but what's the point I'm saying? Shahid, there we are, tells it the way it is. So the more and more and more that ones spend less time doing that, and, where we can have more trucks, for the ones who do not drive. Okay, marginalistic babies. So it's better produce, a little bit more expensive, okay? Well, basically, he's done saying what I've been done saying long time. So you put these out of business, just like if one's stop buying all these big time fizzy drinks. Could even say that about one of the biggest ones is it Club Tropicana, drinks are free. Tropicana. Now, Merst, there we are, we'll go for the name. That's what they do, Mards and Liquor Babies, they go for the name. But if you look on the back of that, there's so much sweet stuff. Well, why do they need more sugar when oranges are naturally sugar? Just like if you go and buy, what's that other one? It's like mango, pineapple, what is it, K something. If you look on the back of that with a pineapple, it's full of sugar. Okay, Mards and Liquor Babies, but these sell. There we are, Mards and Liquor Babies. Do you see what I'm saying, okay? If you buy the cheaper ones, okay, not the too cheap, but if you buy the cheaper ones, there we are, Mards and Liquor Babies, you usually find that, there we are, believe it or not, they're better. Okay, Mards and Liquor Babies, okay? We've also got the scandal, haven't we? There we are with honey. You know, how much they faked it with the honey. Mards and Liquor Babies, you know what I mean? I seen a video yesterday evening where you have fake lettuce, there we are, and fake everything else. And they show you all the ingredients. I've got to find that video, Mards and Liquor Babies. Show you all the ingredients. And then they put it into the water, you know, scrub it like this, and then cut it in half. It looks like a lettuce. Mards and Liquor Babies, you see what I mean? Yes. So Shahid is basically telling everybody, and he was talking about, there we are, which I've been talking about a long time, there we are, bartering. Got to go back to bartering, said all this. And he even said that ones, I'm only saying what he said, Mards and Liquor Babies, that ones do not need all these rallies or marches or walks or, you know, and anything like, well, there we are, I totally agree. I mean, bless everybody who does this, but I totally agree, there we are, with what Shahid had to say. It's well worth listening, Mards and Liquor Babies, so you can either go on this channel, well, I'll go on this channel because you get the video straight away, or you could go on to Shahid, space, King, space, Bolsen, but he's got another one. What's it called? Something Nation. What he's done actually is combine the two. Mards and Liquor Babies. I think he's got over 20,000 now on the Shahid. He's Shahid space King space Bolsen. Okay, but I do believe he has combined the two. Okay, because he's got another channel on YouTube. Something Nation. Mards and Liquor Babies. I can't remember what it is now. I'm sorry, Shahid. Anyway. But you can also look at, there we are, some other videos on this dear uploaders channel, Mards and Liquor Babies. You know, there may be something else which jumps out at you. You know what I mean, Mards and Liquor Babies. Now, finally, before I go, so I've got an apple. Okay, my delicious little babies. What could we say about that apple? We could say Adam and Eve, couldn't we? Or we could say, look, was it Little Red Riding Hood? No, it wasn't, was it? Which one was it? With the apple? You know, the one who looked in the mirror? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? What was that? The Ice Queen or something? Anyway, Mards and Liquor Babies, anyway. Let me get back to the point. Sorry, I've just gone off on one. Say, for example, in this, I'm going to talk about its digital ID, okay? I've also got here, I've been waiting, my sandwich, Mards and Liquor Babies, which happens to be a triple cheese and pickle, mayonnaise and real butter sandwich, Mards and Liquor Babies. Now, why have I brought this to show you, Mards and Liquor Babies? With the RD, it can mean things like this as well, Mards and Liquor Babies. So say, for example, if somebody just loves to eat fruit all the time, so some may love pickles, some may love dairy, cheese, butter, mayo, which, you know, is eggs, and a bit of oil, Mards and Liquor Babies. And you got apples and fruit. Well, the same could apply. If it went to, there we are, the Turken system, and you've been deemed to have too much fruit, which, of course, you know, this is a free to the land, isn't it, Mards and Liquor Babies, if you follow me? They could even stop you buying something as little as this, an app. Okay, Marzlichtig babies, just thought to mention it. So yeah, so this is my sandwich, Marzlichtig babies. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a bite, Marzlichtig babies. I've been dying to eat it. Please and thank you. Just what I'm eating now, Marzlichtig babies. So, say for example, which I probably have one of these sandwiches once or twice a week. Say if I wanted to eat, for an example I'm using, because I eat many different things and it's all homemade. Bread, butter, eggs, mayo, pickles, cheese, milk. And that's all that I wanted to eat, Marzlichtig babies kind. Well, on a digital ID, if it went full throttle, that token at the old till or face recognition would decline me buying any of these items, Marzlichtig babies. Do you see what I mean? So sometimes I just have to show you, Marzlichtig babies. I'll take another bite, please, and thank you. Lovely. What about my cup of coffee? Wash it down with a cup of coffee, Marzlichtig babies. Please and thank you. So what about if I want to buy 3 or 4 jars of coffee? Only as an example, I certainly do not, Marzlichtig babies. I'm just saying, what if I wanted to? Get to the till, face recognition, cashier, take my token. No. They deem it that you've had too much coffee as well, Carla. See what I mean, Marzlichtig babies? So this is a reason why everybody, there we are, for Merce, there we are, is up in arms, Marzlichtig babies, and rightfully so. I've said this long time, for years. Yes, we've already got digital. Debit cards, credit cards, things like this now then. My driving licence is a digital. Okay, Marzlichtig babies, okay? Because it did change, actually. How long have we been driving now? I think I've been driving... don't know, I think about nearly 20 years now, Marzlichtig babies, I think. Anyway, I need to have a look. Okay, well, it needs renewing next year anyway. Sorry, Marzlichtig babies, I just had to try and remember them. So what's the point I'm saying? You see, yes, we got part digital, but we are not alike in all digital. But this is how they've done it. It's like little jeepers creepers are creeping, don't they, Marzlichtig babies, you know what I mean? They're sneaky and sly, Marzlichtig babies, do you know what I'm saying? Yes. They're putrid, in fact. Okay, Marzlichtig babies, I was looking at, just before I go, Jeff Taylor's video yesterday, because I was looking at some of the March Marzlichtig babies in our old London. Seemed to be more for the Palestine, didn't there? Marzlichtig babies on the 13th September. You know what I mean, Marzlichtig babies? So this is to do with our laugh. But it seemed to have been busier on the 13th September rather than the 18th of October, Marzlichtig babies, this year, 2025. Nevertheless, there we are. Bless everybody, each and every one. There we are. Who went? right at the end on because Jeff Taylor, Martin Babies, I advertised him years ago. He's now up to 255,000 subscribers, Martin Babies. It went on for a couple of hours, actually, 2.5 hours, something like that. I looked at the end, and they were down by, that 10 Downing Street. Terrible stench there in the Mardelishlik Babies, you know what I mean? Plenty of sharp that stinks down there, isn't there, Mardelishlik Babies? Old 10 Downing Street and number 11. Everybody was singing, for a lot like that, that Kia Starmer is a Winker. Mardelishlik Babies, you know what I mean? And then they had another one where, his bird trace at Kia's, and he's a little body like hanging from a lamppost, Mardelishlik Babies. Do you follow me? Anyway, so thank you so very much for any views, for any likes. And I will say, for the occasional comments, I did receive one yesterday, Mardelishlik Babies. Happens to be one of my friends, bless, okay? Mardelishlik Babies, beautiful little family, okay? Thank you, dear John. Okay, I didn't know he was going to put one Mardelishlik Babies, so thank you. Okay, I hope that you're all super duper well, our little beautifuls, okay? Not in that way, not in that way. So, yeah. So, thank you for any views, for any likes, for the occasional comments, okay? So, wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves, your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. Yes, I was mentioning about the lamppost. I wasn't inciting anything. I was just pointing out, if you watch the video yourself, should anybody have any form of an interest, that it was clearly there. Okay, my delicious babies. So you just look after yourself now, okay? The weather is it's peeing down with rain at the moment. My delicious babies. It's very grey sky. Tiny bit of wind. A little bit chilly today. Okay, my delicious babies. So until my next video, you just look after now. Love you all dearly. Thank you once again for listening. Goodbye.